Hello and welcome to Vegan Cafe 21. Today we are making monkey bread, but we are making a savory version of it. So let me walk you through the ingredients. To make our savory monkey bread, we are going to start with 3.5 cups of bread flour in this bowl here. To this, we are going to add 1 packet of instant yeast. This is not active dry yeast. This is instant yeast that you just open the packet and put directly into your flour. In addition to that, we are going to flavor our bread with 1 cup of fried onions. You can buy them in the store, particularly during the holiday season. They are very readily available. 3 tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil, 3 tablespoons of sugar, 1 teaspoon of pink salt. We will also grind some fresh black pepper. To put everything together, we are going to use warm water. Your water needs to be warm, not hot, otherwise you will kill the yeast. It should not be cold either, that would not activate the yeast. So warm is where we want it, about 95 degrees Fahrenheit. I'm going to start out with 1.25 cup of it, and then as we need, we will make the judgment. If we need more, we will bring more to the party. So first, let me just add the yeast to our flour. Mix the yeast in our flour. Add the sugar. Salt. Now we will just take these onions and sort of crumble them with our hands into our flour. You don't want to grind them into a powder, but just crumbly enough so that there aren't any very big pieces. And start making the dough. Add the olive oil and slowly start adding water to pull everything together. I forgot to add our black pepper, so let's grind that while we are still not too far gone. I would say about 1/4 teaspoon and carry on. So this is how far we were able to get with 1.25 cup of warm water. I think we can safely use another 1/4 cup. So I'm going to get that. So just add 1 teaspoon at a time. It's still not as soft as I would like for it to be. So another tablespoon, I would say, would do us good. Using your knuckles, you can just punch it down, fold it over like this. Now we are not looking for a very sticky dough. It's super soft, very pliable, but not sticky. Also, the amount of water you're going to use is determined by the quality of your flour. Some flours absorb more water than others. We are just where we need to be. Look how soft this dough is. Just pull it all together. So there we go. Some oil for the bowl, some for the dough. Just roll it around, get it coated from all sides. In my house, I feel oven is the best place for the dough to rest and rise. So I'm going to walk this dough to our oven. The oven is turned off. So we're going to let the dough hang out for about 2.5 hours. I'm going to leave the oven light on to generate just enough heat to help the dough. We'll come back once our dough is double in volume and proceed further. So while our dough is resting, we will put together a seasoning blend to roll our dough balls in. To prepare our seasoning mix, we will use 1/4 cup of almond flour, 1/4 cup of nutritional yeast, 1 tablespoon of red pepper flakes, 1 tablespoon of Italian herb blend, 1 tablespoon of sugar, 1 teaspoon of garlic powder, 1 teaspoon of pink salt. You can adjust the salt to your taste and liking, use more or less of it. And I'm going to grind about half a teaspoon of black pepper into the mix. So let's just put everything together. All we need is a nice sized bowl. And to this bowl, we will invite all the ingredients that you see on the board. And now we whisk everything together. All right, so our dough is ready. It has been exactly 2 hours and 15 minutes. And look at our dough. It has more than doubled in volume. So now let us grease our hands a little bit with some olive oil. And bring our dough on our work surface. What we need to do now is just make a nice long log. If your surface is not big enough for a big log, just divide the dough in half and then make 2 logs. Keep stretching, pulling, and rolling. If your dough is really sticky, then you can sprinkle or rather dust your work surface with some flour, but try to avoid that if you can. If your dough is done right, you would not need to sprinkle any flour on the surface. Now, while this kind of hangs out a little bit, I'm going to grease our bundt cake pan. So we liberally drizzle our pan with olive oil, and using a brush, just spread it all over the pan. Bring it up to the sides, grease the flute. Now on this greased surface, we are going to lightly sprinkle the seasoning mix that we had prepared. We will just sprinkle a little bit of it all over the sides. This allowed a minute for our log to relax, so now we can stretch it a little more. Relaxing and resting the dough is a very important part of any bread recipe. Using a knife or a scraper, you can just portion this log into smaller pieces. They don't have to be equal sized. As you know, monkey bread is a pull apart bread. So that's what we are trying to do here. We are trying to create little dough balls that we are going to stack in our bundt cake pan. Now while this log hangs out for a few seconds, I'm going to just roughly roll them in a shape of a ball. It doesn't have to be a work of art, just a quick roll. If you have kids in the house around the holiday season, they would love to help you out with this project. It's that simple. And now this guy is ready for us. Same drill, roll away the balls. And done. Now the fun part. We drop a few balls into our seasoning mix. Roll them around, coat them with the seasoning mix, and keep your bundt cake pan right next to it. Once they are coated in the seasoning mix, you just stack them around the bundt cake pan. You do the same thing with all of our dough portions. If they stick to each other, you can pull them apart. They won't mind. Now I'm using a 10-inch bundt cake pan. Now, the remaining mixture, you just take it and sprinkle it all over. Now a drizzle of olive oil. And now we will let this sit for half hour for a second rise. This is very important. Do not skip this part. While this is resting, we will go ahead and start preheating our oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. But we want to give this pan at least 30 minutes before we put it in the oven. Look at our dough. It has been 30 minutes and the dough has doubled again in the pan. So our oven is ready at 350 degrees Fahrenheit and waiting for us. Set it in for 40 minutes. Although if you feel like your bread is browning too quickly for you, you can lightly, loosely tent it with aluminum foil and let it bake through. Our monkey bread is done. We're going to let it cool for about 10-15 minutes and then invert it on a plate. So it has been 15 minutes. I'm just going to loosen the edges by running this knife around and now invert it onto a plate. Now flip it onto a different plate and present it like this. All right, so let me just pull apart a piece and show you how it turned out. So there you have it, a savory vegan monkey bread. I hope you enjoyed this recipe. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you again soon with more vegan favorites.